with Joel Daly, Linda Yu, weather with Mike Kaplan, and sports with Jim Rose. This is ABC 7 News at 4.
He was murdered on the campus of a Florida junior college. Jonathon Glenn was shot and killed apparently during a robbery attempt. The 18-year-old attended Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida. ABC 7's Charles Thomas in our newsroom with more on the young man who was murdered. Charles?
Joel, he was clearly among the best and brightest kids to graduate from a city public high school last year, earning an A- average during his first year of college. But late last night, the young man's dreams ended as he became the victim of what appears to be an anonymous street crime in Florida. Witnesses say the shooting happened a few minutes before midnight on the street between two dormitories on the campus located in Jacksonville's inner city. The gunman demanded 18-year-old Jonathon Glenn's throwback athletic jersey and allegedly opened fire after the teenager had surrendered the shirt.
He was like shaking a little bit, like he was gasping for air, and he wasn't even a foot away from me. And I saw 2 holes in his chest.
Glenn was a second-semester freshman honor student at Edward Waters College who graduated last June from Chicago's agricultural high school on the far south side. Ironically, the business major turned in a term paper on campus security yesterday and planned to return to Chicago today to spend the summer break with his family.
The sexless violence throughout our country that does not discriminate in where or who it strikes has got to stop.
Glenn's relatives from Chicago arrived in Jacksonville this morning. His former classmates say Jonathon wanted to be either a reporter or a chef and was a model student.
He had a 3.8 GPA, and I mean, Johnny knew what he wanted out of life, and he was willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So he was very goal-oriented, and it's just sad that that happened. I mean, it hurts.
By late this afternoon, Jacksonville authorities had no suspects in custody in this case. Live in the newsroom, Charles Thomas, ABC 7 News. Linda, back to you.
Charles, thanks very much. Veterans and tourists got their...
Now, the news on CBS 2.
An honor student from Chicago has been the victim of a deadly robbery attempt at his college in Jacksonville, Florida. This is home video of Jonathon Glenn. Friends of the 18-year-old say he wrote rap songs in his spare time. Last year, he graduated from the Chicago High School for Agriculture Science. Jacksonville police say Glenn was walking to a dorm at Edward Waters College just after midnight when a masked man approached and demanded money. The robber shot Glenn twice. He was pronounced dead after being rushed to a nearby hospital. Just ahead on CBS 2 News at 5, more on the investigation and reaction from Glenn's friends and his school here in Chicago.
The scene of a massive fire.
Live from Chicago's NBC 5, this is NBC 5 News at 4:30.
This afternoon, Florida police are searching for the suspect who gunned down an 18-year-old college student from Chicago's southwest side. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nasita Kwan.
And I'm Marion Brooks.
This was supposed to be a great day for a South Side family. Their 18-year-old son was due home today after wrapping up his first year of college in Florida. Instead, his parents went south today to pick up their son's body. And NBC5's Darren Kramer is live in the control room with more.
Nasita, Jonathon Glenn was an honor student at a college in Jacksonville, Florida. As part of his final exams this week, he wrote a letter warning of the dangers on his campus. Last night, one of those dangers killed him. Jonathon Glenn was only 18. He had just wrapped up finals week at his Florida college and today was supposed to head home to Chicago. But last night, after leaving a friend's house, he was robbed by a masked man, shot twice, and killed.
At first, I heard 2 shots, and then I was like, well, maybe it's fireworks because everyone's celebrating because they're going home. Then I heard 2 more shots, and I heard a scream, and I just dropped my cell phone and ran outside.
The school, Edward Waters College, has had a history of violence. As part of a finals project this year, Glenn had written a letter pointing out the violence on campus and asking something be done about it.
What went through your mind when you first read that?
I started crying because he was talking about how something needs to be done before someone gets killed. And on the day that he died, he wrote this letter.
Edward Waters College is part of Jacksonville. This is not just an EWC problem. It's a community problem, and we urge the entire community to work with us in finding solutions.
Friends say Glenn had big dreams of journalism and being a chef.
And he wanted to either be a reporter or a chef. And his main goal was he looked up to Emerald so much. And it's like, that was the main person he looked up to, and he wrote music in his spare time. I mean, he never bothered anybody. No matter how you felt, if you're around Johnny, he's going to make you laugh.
That's Emerald Lagasse of Food Channel fame. Jonathon Glenn graduated last year from Agricultural Science High School on the south side. Late today, school officials there told us they were very upset about the news. Principal said there, Jonathon was well-liked and called him a great kid. Live in the control room, I'm Darren Kramer, NBC 5 News.
Very sad. Thank you so much, Darren. A robber is caught on...
You're watching the news on CBS 2 with Diane Burns, Antonio Mora, Steve Baskerville with weather, and Mark Malone on sports. This is CBS 2 News at 5.
From Chicago is killed in Florida just outside his dorm. Jonathon Glenn was a college freshman there and the apparent victim of a robbery. Good evening, I'm Diane Burns.
I'm Antonio Mora. Police tell us a masked gunman approached Jonathon Glenn as he walked with friends on campus. Glenn attended Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida, but he had gone to high school in Chicago's Mount Greenwood neighborhood, and that's where CBS 2's Jim Williams is this afternoon. Jim.
Antonio, they call this the Ag School. Students here study agriculture. Jonathon Glenn is remembered as a good student, a good athlete, before going off to college in Florida, where he was killed at the very end of his freshman year.
Since they can't beat me, they can't see me. They try to see me, but I'm never giving in to their skin.
This is home video of Jonathon Glenn doing what friends say he loved, rapping. It was here on the campus of Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida, that Glenn was shot twice. Witnesses say a robber wearing a mask demanded Glenn's athletic jersey.
He took the jersey off and gave it to him. Therefore, afterwards, the man shot him. That's senseless. You didn't have, if he gave it to you, why did you shoot him?
Jonathon Glenn attended the Chicago High School of Agricultural Sciences, graduating last year. The school's principal, off camera, described Glenn as a very nice guy. He was a freshman at Edward Waters College, an honors student. His friends say Glenn was so concerned about crime on campus, he turned in a term paper on the issue yesterday.
It's gotten to the boiling point, and we have to do something about the violence here in Jacksonville. From the beginning of the year, there's been case after case after case.
Today, the college's president released a statement. Edward Waters College is part of Jacksonville. This is not just an EWC problem, it's a community problem, and we urge the entire community to work with us in finding solutions. But students here said the school itself needs to do more.
They should have security walking up and down the street at certain times of the night and, you know, just watching over everything.
After the school year ended, Jonathon Glenn was planning to return home to Chicago.
Yeah, he was excited to get back.
We're told Jonathon's parents went to Jacksonville in the last day. They are now returning home with their son's body. Antonio, there are no suspects in the case.
Thank you, Jim. Jim Williams on the southwest side. Just about an hour after he pleaded...
Live from Chicago's NBC 5, this is NBC 5 News at 6.
Tragedy tonight for a Chicago family whose teenage son was away attending college in Florida. 18-year-old Jonathon Glenn, an honors student, was shot several times during an attempted robbery. NBC 5's Darren Kramer joins us now with more. Darren?